American Dream Makers host. Good morning to you all, and it's so good to have you on. We have a wonderful guest who does so many amazing things in this community. I cannot wait to bring her on so that you can get to know her. Her name is Jaye. But first, before I introduce her, if you are watching this, please be sure to share it out. Jaye has an amazing message that we want to make sure everybody gets to hear it. And also go ahead and let StreamYard have permission so that we can see your comments, because we love your participation. So don't be shy. Let us know that you're here, streamyard.com/Facebook. And so Jaye Long, she is a remarkable career. Her remarkable career showcases an unparalleled breadth of excellence spanning community advocacy, marketing, public relations, photography, graphics, broadcasting, audiovisual production, print, social media, web, and digital science event planning. Her journey enriched through positions at Where It's Hot and Recovery Magazine, the Prescott Daily Courier, Arizona Shine Radio, Magic 99.1, and the Great Circle Media Radio Network is a testament to her honed creative writing, marketing, sales skills. In 2018, Jaye's trajectory led her to the prestigious role of SR Community Engagement Specialist with the National Team of Honor and Remember. Here, she interfaces directly with prominent entities like NASCAR, Goodyear Racing, and the America's Run for the Fallen Tribute. As the visionary force behind Beyond the Vision Media, she galvanizes nonprofits and small businesses, masterfully creating results-oriented content and impactful messaging. Jaye's origins as concert circuit photographer, her strategic marketing development at esteemed outlets like Prescott Daily Courier and Great Circle Media. It just has so many awesome things going on. And you guys, let me just bring her on because we've got so much to dive into. So Jaye, you are a fabulous woman. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. You're quite a dynamo yourself, and I appreciate that.
Well, we've got some big things happening in this community, and you are definitely the mover and shaker of our Prescott community. Okay. But before we get into that, tell us about yourself and how you ended up where you ended up.
Oh my goodness. It's a trail. I was born, in my first early years were in Texas, Amarillo, Texas. And then my parents divorced and my mother moved out to Phoenix. And so I spent most of my life until I graduated from high school, back and forth. I was in one or the other. Ended up graduating from Amarillo High. I'm a Sandy some years ago, and then dove into electronics. I got my degree in electronics technology, and then later went into communications, and just oh my gosh, just springboarded forward. My first husband and I owned a sound production company. We took care and repaired all the equipment that was coming through for concerts and shows in Phoenix, and just on from there. Worked in media, with Arizona Shine Radio, carrying the Christian message across Arizona, and then into marketing other businesses and their messages and helping them hone their branding. And now I'm what's called, I just finished my digital science. I'm a digital CEO manager. So
congratulations.
Yeah, it's too many things because I'm old.
Awesome. Looks like your sister is here. She's saying hello. She says, looking beautiful, love you.
Oh, which one?
It says Facebook user, so I'm not really sure.
Oh, that's funny. Well, yeah, they're all sisters. Okay.
Well, that's great. You do wear many, many hats, and but you also do a lot for the community as well. So yes, you've got your career path. So you're a busy gal, being an entrepreneur. Tell us what that must be like to juggle that aspect, and then also bring on serving the community the way you do.
I was a single mom for many years, probably about 15. raising 4 boys here in the greater Prescott area. And I worked for places like Lamb Chevrolet. I was selling cars. Not a lot of women in the car industry at that time. It was really interesting, but it was my family that really gave me my motivation to keep going and get up every day, because it was a tough world out there. And now, whether it be through the advocacy that we do with things like Celebrate Recovery, homelessness, our veterans, and our first responders, it's passion. I often say, where passions flow, solutions follow. And I really adhere to that. I think it comes from the heart of what's important. And I think it also comes from what can I be a part of. And I hear it over and over again. There's no I in team. I like collaboration. I am built off of collaboration. I get so much energy and so much creativity and vision off of working with other people and seeing what can come out of it. I mean, Hope Fest is just an inkling of that. I mean, we've been able to see organizations come together that are now doing, working together. We've seen people meet at Hope Fest that are now married and having kids. It's that collaborative, we're going to do life together. What can we do to do things better? That's where it comes from.
So I was mistaken. I guess it's your brother that's here, not your sister.
My brother. Oh, okay. It's got to be my little brother. My little brother.
Yeah. your brother James.
So, yeah, hi, Jamie.
Yeah. Cool. That's so sweet. And so you've got a big family. So if you couldn't even guess which sibling it was that was on here, right. How many siblings do you have?
I got 2 brothers now. One is passed, and then I don't have any really related sisters. I got sisters-in-laws, and I've got lots of bonus daughters.
That's great. Bonus daughters are great.
Oh, they are. They're beautiful. They're
yeah. And do they all live here in the area, or are they spread out?
My oldest son lives down in Phoenix now, and his wife Jessica is with him, and then they've got 3 great kids that we just love. And then my other son Jesse is in Phoenix, and he's a wild, crazy musician and race car driver, and he helps people with renal failure. He's a registered dietitian through ASU.
Wow. Desmond Doss Foundation watching.
Yes. Desmond Doss. Oh, that's got to be Jeffrey, which he's the CEO of Desmond Doss Foundation. And you know who they are. The movie Hacksaw Ridge, which is about the Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Desmond Doss, who decided he wanted to serve but not carry a gun. And he became a medic and went up on that hill at Escarpment and saved the Army says over 150. Desmond said, nah, and they settled on 75. So people, men that day, and a great, amazing organization. And they are bringing a surprise element to Hope Fest.
Are they?
We are excited about.
Wow, that's so awesome. And so Hope Fest, well, since we're on the topic, what is Hope Fest exactly?
Over the last few years, it's really turned to Northern Arizona's premier community gathering. That really does spell it. Its background is out of recovery. Some people know the story. Others are still coming to the table and don't know the story. My husband and I were leaders for Celebrate Recovery at the Heights Church. And Justin Unger came to us with a message of saying, I got a couple of guys with a recovery thing, and they were musicians, wanted to come out and play in Arizona. He says, we can do a concert at the Heights. We've done it before. We'll do them again. But I challenge you to take Celebrate Recovery down to the courthouse plaza, not with any manipulation or preconception. Simply go meet people where they're at. Let them know you care for them. There's hope, and you're going to do life together. And so that's where that started. Now it's become so much more. We still have a recovery foundation, but it's become so much more because of the friends we've made along the way. And that was what is so unique and special about the Hope Serves Family Resource Fair. It takes the courthouse plaza and divides it into quadrants. So there's a veteran and first responder area, there's family support and wellness, and then there's the family fun zone, and then there's the car show, and so it's just coming out for connecting solutions, resources, but having a whole bunch of fun at the same time.
Wow. Yeah, it is a pretty amazing event. And how long has it been going on for now?
This is our 11th year. Would have been 12 if 2020 didn't come into play, but it did for everybody, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like the whole world kind of went on pause.
Exactly. Which was unfortunate for us because with, our service and connecting with people was so important. So that was really the worst time. We could not have Hope Fest so that we could really meet the people that were having a lot of struggles, at that time, suicide attempts, domestic violence, all those kinds of things were at a record peak. So it really concerned me and our team that we couldn't go out and meet. So that was a hard year.
Yes, I believe it was a hard year for many, many people because, and I did see that even for those who have a very reclusive life, they found that isolation was really, really hard on them emotionally and mentally. And so you're right, it was a tough year, but thankfully we are beyond it and we have Hope Fest. And what an appropriate name, because it is the name itself. It's a Hope Fest. We have hope and we're celebrating.
Buckets of hope, whether it be hope for the moment, hope for tomorrow, hope for that endures all time, which is in Jesus Christ. We can't do without hope. And we've started a community challenge. It's called Love First, which is built out of that too.
Wow, that's awesome. And so this is quite the lineup that you have for Hope Fest. I've got the poster,
yes,
and you've got the highlight band is Building 429.
Yes,
and they've been with Hope Fest for a few times now.
Well, they were here last year, but if you remember, the evening session got rained out. So and they're doing a revisit, and we're hoping for much drier weather.
The forecast looks pretty decent.
Yeah, it's looking good. I could put a little request in for just a tad bit cooler. But yeah, it's looking good.
Yes. Yeah, pretty exciting. I mean, what a lineup that you have there. You want to tell us a few of the guests that you have come in here?
Yes, I grabbed the list so I would get it correctly. We open up with Sky Daddy Conwell and the Soggy Bottom Band at 1:00. And then we go to the Flock Band, which is from the Flock Church. Now, Pastor Ronnie is known for having played in a lot of the 80s bands in LA. And he also has the original bass player from one of the very first Christian rock bands, which was Striper. Wow. Yeah, so they're playing. And then we come back and the Scally brothers show up at 5:00, and they're from Ohio, and they're just really high energy and something really great for the youth. And we're really excited about that. But then again, Building 429. But in addition to the artists that are playing, it's the opening ceremony and the evening ceremony that are really, really crucial to what we're doing. We, of course, have the national anthem. We have an invocation. We post the colors. But this year, we are returning the Honor Remember and Honor Sacrifice flags to the Courthouse Plaza after they were launched in 2021 to go around our community to collect names of fallen warriors and fallen first responders. Now, those flags did come back last year to Hope Fest, but if anybody was there or saw the live feed, you know that me, the mayor, Supervisor Mallory, we're totally drenched on stage, so we didn't get anything accomplished. So we just figured that was God saying you're going to pause until next year, which is actually a pretty cool thing because we've been able to make it even better. We've been able to bring more excellence to the opening ceremony. And there's times when I'm looking at the plans for that and just sit back, and it's just a huge wow factor of what God's done and how he's pulling every little entity together.
Oh.
Now the evening, can I share that? Because I already did the opening. Okay, the evening, you want to be there at 7. Okay, and at 7, again, we're going to have the national anthem. We're going to lead the crowd through America the Beautiful. And we learned a long time ago, you don't do a candlelight vigil on the courthouse plaza because you have to clean up the wax afterwards, which is a rule by the county. So we're going to do what? Cell phone. Okay, easy peasy, no maintenance, no cleanup. Anyway, that, and then we have a firefighter. His name's Kenyon Gray, who's also a musician. He's going to come and give a powerful testimony of a dad who had 2 children kidnapped from him.
Oh.
Is going to be powerful. And then we have our Fostering Hope Award, which is always an onstage surprise recognition of a locally nominated nonprofit. And we honor with a give back of a check and some flowers and a plaque, and it's all unscripted because they don't know. At least I hope they don't. People might be getting used to the fact that what we're doing now, we're still trying to keep a secret. But then after that, the Desmond Doss Foundation will be launching a new educational series. It's a teaser for what's called the Desmond Doss Edusodes. When you're a Medal of Honor recipient, it's a lot to do with the character traits that they kind of set up as pillars, that you've identified with not only patriotism and integrity and honesty and things like that. Well, the Desmond Doss Foundation has a similar, and they've taken kind of a couple of steps forward in that. And they're creating a character development series for kids that are middle school to high school. Okay, so that age demographic, which is teaching kids to stop. You gotta, this is a chance to make a pointed decision, and which way do you go, kind of thing. And the teaser is going to be released on stage at Hope Fest. First time. Should we call this a worldwide premiere? I don't know. But anyway, nobody else can say they get to do it first. And then Bolding 429. So the evening ceremony is just as power-packed and as special as the opening one is.
That sounds so exciting. Oh my gosh, Jaye, that's amazing. I mean, to put on a event like this takes a lot of time and a lot of people. So tell us a little bit about the background of the preparation. How long does it take to plan something like this?
You know what? At this point, I have what are called special teams. And I really hesitate about using the word I, because I never want to get in the habit of I, because there is no I in this. And I do not want pride to step before what we are doing. And it's so confirmed through prayer, through God showing up every single time, opening every single door. I just really want to say that ahead of time. Sometimes I don't know what other word to use, but anyway, our teams, we have a vendor captain team, and it's Cassie and her husband from DeCarroll Construction have led that for several years. And it's like they are perfectly gifted for that. And then Linda Brannick, who's over at Yavapai College, she leads the volunteers. I mean, and she's so detail oriented. She puts people where they go. And we have our website that's all set up to get people plugged in. And then we have our production team, which is my husband, David, and Ted. Teddy has been with us since day one, and he loves what we do at Hope Fest. And then I'm trying to think. We've got hospitality. They take care of the artists and communication and make sure they're fed, green rooms and all that kind of stuff. And then the day of the event, have about 6 different runners. I have learned that I get attacked a lot that day. And so I'm never left alone. I'm never left alone. And there's a lot of times when there's things coming at me that I got to stop. We got to pray, because there is no confusion from him. And so I just need that peace and that calm resolve, because I will just get going and nothing can be done in my power. None of this can be. But our special teams stepped up every single year. It's like, okay, we got our date, we get our armor on, we get our prayers up, and we move forward as a unit. It's truly phenomenal. And I have to say, the biggest years that they touched me the most were the 2 years my 2 sons passed away, because it became obvious that we could either cancel Hope Fest, but I have Jesus. I have God to turn to. It sucks, and we knew that I was going to cry or laugh or whatever, but you know what? I was going to be with my friends and the family that we've created through this. But the people that we're serving don't always have that. They don't always have that go-to of somebody to pray with them or somebody to reach out to them. And so my special team showed that they could step up in ways and take charge in ways that I couldn't, because I had to, when Travis passed away, I had to go to Hawaii. I know some people say, oh, you poor thing, but it wasn't for surfing. It wasn't for vacation. It was to bring my son home. And we were there for about a week because they did his memorial service at Schofield. My 2 sons, Brandon and Kyle, had to get their training in order to bring their brother home. So what I'm saying, while I was doing all this, our teams were actively taking on the event, and they were actually moving forward to make sure T was crossed and all the things that go in to make this happen were happening. But then the following year, it was 4 weeks before Hope Fest. It was just 18 months later, we lost Brandon. And while I don't want to say it was deja vu, I do believe in my walk that either you learned a lesson or you're going to set yourself up to repeat that lesson until you learn it. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't deja vu, but we did have lessons that we had learned from losing Travis that we could put in place and call on when we lost Brandon. And with his loss, I had to run to Colorado. I had to be the memorial service there. I mean, I was on my phone when I was away from services and checking on things at night with email and all that. Fortunately, we had technology, but it really is the people, and this event has to go forward whether I'm alive or available or not, because the tourism department got in my face and said, this is a beloved community event. It's no longer yours. The community loves it. It's like, okay, well, I need more of the community to step up and take part so that I can show them my Excel sheet and they can march forward. And hopefully, that will happen through time. But we know in ministry that it can't be any one person. It has to be a team. And I've never been a part of a team that is just so incredible as I've watched it developed over the last 11 years through Hope Fest.
So tell us a little bit about both your sons. Well, how many of your kids served in the military?
Okay. I raised 4 boys here in the Prescott area. Kyle, Jesse, Travis, and Brandon. And 3 of them served. First, it was Kyle. and he went off to the Navy and became Air Force Reserve. He was a cryptologist, so he was in top secret. And then came well, Travis. Travis was Army by the time he came out of the womb. He was military. There was no denying. Everybody knew he was going to. There was no surprise. There was no shock. But it was like, when are you going? You know, he would play both sides of Army man, both the enemy and the friendly. He was figuring out strategy at the age of 3. So he went off and he was frontline infantry, badass warrior. I mean, I hear from his unit all the time about the things that he did and that he didn't get credit for. Which it's okay. He got credit through his team, which is the most important, right? His brothers. And then there was Brandon, and he didn't go frontline infantry. He was more of a logistics person. And yeah, so, and all 3 became staff sergeants.
Wow.
I was the mom that raised not only one strong-willed child, I raised 4.
Look amazing.
Oh my gosh. And I'm a strong-willed child. So a strong-willed child raising 4 yeah, we had moments.
You knew how to raise them. That's why God gave them to you. So, and
you realize that now.
And you obviously did an amazing job, you know, because when you have kids that grow up to want to serve other people the way that your kids want to, it's because you have instilled that in them, and it shows. Jaylene, you are a servant leader yourself, and so obviously you knew exactly what to do, and that's why God placed them in your life. Now, Brandon and Travis were twins.
Yes, they were twins. They were 1 minute apart. A fact that they argued about their whole life. And I'm sure they would have till they were 80 or 90 years old. Travis was first. Yes.
They're identical or fraternal?
They are identical. Very handsome boys. Mm-hmm.
Wow, identical twins. What joy that must have been. So they were born after. Were they the youngest out of all?
They were my youngest, yes. And all 4 boys grew up in the Prescott area. And believe me, you know, as a mom in a place like Lamb, and you know, I would say I was involved with my community. There wasn't a place they could go that I didn't know what was going on. They thought so they could, but it wasn't so.
Yeah, no, not that is for sure. Mm-hmm. So they grew up here, and then they both decided to join the armed forces at the same time.
No, Travis was first. Matter of fact, he wanted me to sign. He got out of high school at 17, wanted me to sign for him to get in after he got his GED. I said, no, I'm not doing that because something never happened. And it's because I signed you in early. I am not carrying that. No, I'm not doing that. So the minute he turned 18, he was signed up. Yes. Now, Brandon, it took him a couple of years because he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And he went to a college here locally, Yavapai, and a couple other things. But then he decided he wanted to see the world. And he was watching his brothers go around seeing the world. And that's what he wanted to do.
Well, you did say Travis was born first. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
So I guess he took his older brother's lead.
Yeah, and he was actually trying to get in with the Marines, and I think he was trying to get into different service because he didn't want to be a duplicate. But I guess it ended up that way. See, that is quite interesting because most of their school years they were together, so most teachers knew they were twins. But when they got older, they went to different high schools later on. And I went to a parent-teacher conference, and she was surprised to learn he was a twin because he never mentioned it. She thought that was funny. And of course, there was the times at school when they would try to confuse people with their identity, which is always an interesting call to get to. Yeah, they were quite wild boys. Yes, all 4 of them.
They kept you on your toes.
Oh, they did. It was laughs and humor and fun and love. Yeah. I'm bridled.
I bet. And I bet watching them, I mean, I know as a mom myself, watching your kids grow up and become their own adult people, it's bittersweet. Like you love seeing them become their own person and going out into the world
Right.
and participating and serving and giving, you know, but then you also like are so sad. I was so sad, you know, what happened to my baby?
Know where they go.
How
What
did
do you mean
the
you're not calling me every day? Yeah, yeah, I do love that. But you know what I think was really good in our instance? I was able to witness the boys carry on a close brotherhood on their own. When I would hear that they were planning to do a ride or they were going to go here or you know it just made me really feel good as a mom that they kept that brotherhood solid because I was really darned and determined when they were young that that was really important. Brothers first. And you mentioned I'm a photographer. Um, they will say that mother had a camera at all times, and I did. And I captured, and I'm so thankful, so thankful. I have all those pictures and videos and everything now. But if you look through those pictures, all of them, they have a close physical interaction, and you can tell whether they're holding on each other's hand or putting their arms around each other or this or that or rubbing their heads and the brotherhood is expressed physically in those pictures, and it's just such a sweet thing. I'm proud that I got to be part of that, and God instilled in me to make that important.
Yeah. So I can't imagine what it must have felt like when you got the news.
Um, we, as a Gold Star parent, we say it's a family you would never choose to be a member of, can never leave, it would never pass on to another. Um, the founder of Honor a Member also often says, what is the first response a parent says when they get that news? And I don't know anybody else that would say anything other than, no, not my child. No, let it be wrong. Let it be wrong. And when we do that, we don't know, especially when we're talking military, when we're saying no, not my child. If and this comes from my recovery because you play the movie forward. When you say no, not my child, what that says is let it be somebody else's. And we don't mean it meanly. We don't mean it accusingly. We just want it to be wrong. But Christ, God sacrificed his son. He would have preferred to say, no, not my child. But if he said it, let it be somebody else's, we wouldn't be where we are today with the Savior. See what I'm saying? I'm not comparing my children to saviors. I'm just saying what it means when we play that movie forward of those selections. So yes, my first words were no from the very depths of my soul. When I got the call about Travis, instantly Romans 8:28 came in like a mantra. And fortunately, I had bedded in my heart throughout my walk certain verses. But why that particular one, I don't know. I know it was one of the favorite of the boys, but it kept praying over again in my head. And at the same time, mercy me's, even if. So while I'm screaming and all this heartache is becoming my reality because there is no pulling my son back. It's already happened. My no is going to go unanswered. My Lord was with me that very moment and held me and cried with me. And when Brandon happened, same thing happened. It was Jeremiah 29:11. I have a plan to prosper you, to purpose you, to not to harm you. That was another favorite of the twins. And it kept on repeating. And then it was Lauren Daigle's, um, I believe. And I say it like it was a mantra because I physically wasn't there. I was, I was incapacitated basically. Later, on the tarmac, when we received Brandon home, which I don't know if you know the timeline, August 26th. So we're coming up on that here right after Hope Fest. August 26th will be Brandon's 5th year. Well, being in August and early September, it's really hot in Phoenix. Yeah, it was that year too. Well, we had to go to Sky Harbor to receive my son home. And all of our family lined up to greet that plane. And from our perspective, I could see the shadows of my family on this hot tarmac. And Lauren Daigle's son came, and I turned it into a prayer because we were like a bunch of puppy dogs of just not knowing what to do. We were so disjointed. You know, there's some of us are believers, some of us are all over the place. We're doing life, you know, we're not this neat, tidy, packaged up family. We've got our stuff, and we've just lost our second family member. And yeah, I'm standing there on the tarmac and I'm seeing those shadows against the pavement and my son coming out of that plane. And that's all I could do. And I don't know if it was what I was trying to think of something to do. I think it was God just saying, this time is not empty. I'm not going to let you sit here and hear nothing. Now, you're going to know that I'm here. I'm here. And so that song was a prayer that held us through that moment.
Yeah.
It's been tough. It's really tough. I mean, they grew up here in the Prescott area. Like I said, they got in trouble here. There's hardly any place I can't go that I don't hear them. I was in Mayor earlier this week, right across the highway from one of our houses that they grew up in, and they love that place. And you know, I love this area I live in. This is wonderful, but it's hard. It's hard facing and hearing them all the time. And I don't know what God's plan is with that, but I guess it's my journey. I don't know, you know, and even pastors have said, well, we just don't know what to say. Well, there's nothing to say. There's no words invented to say. I do know, because they were both self-inflicted, in case you didn't know that. I do know that in a moment of desperation, when they thought they had no hope, I'm not saying that hope didn't exist, they couldn't get on the other side of that desperation to hope and moving forward and either reaching out or what's going on. They made a life-altering decision in a moment of desperation that they couldn't get on the other side to find hope again. And that's a really, I can't deny it, but it's a really hard place, and it's a really hard thing to carry.
Yeah. Like I said, I cannot imagine what you've gone through, but what I do see is that God, he illuminates through you, and he does work all things for good for those who, for his glory, for those that are called according to his purposes. And you absolutely are. And your family is called to his purposes. And so you just walking through the community and serving, and you put on a smile. Jaylene, most of us don't even see that because you put on your demeanor. You just have joy in you. So that's the amazing thing, is that you still have joy in your life despite the hardship, because not only once but twice did you have to go through this, and for it to be self-inflicted. And we know that our military veterans truly have a very hard time with PTSD, and we're learning so much more. There's so much more, and thankfully there's more resources out there. But either way, it can be very lonely for our veterans, and really messes with their mind. That's part of the sacrifice that they make,
That's
right?
right.
That they
Right.
don't live the life that you and I get to live, and do everyday life like you and I do. That they go out there and they see and do things that we have no idea. They protect us truly. And so I just want to encourage you that the purpose is already there, and the community sees it, and you are a light of hope for sure, and a beacon for those. And so it shows. So you just keep fighting that good fight, and it breaks my heart that you had to go through that, but some good things have already begun to come out of it, and they will continue to do so.
Yeah, I call that finding purpose through pain.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was times I didn't know how to breathe. He had to help me. There's times I couldn't get the next moment. Fortunately, I had my recovery history. My cousin got in my face and she goes, "Well, I'm just concerned you're going to relapse." I go, "Oh, I'm 20 someone years in my recovery. Is that an option? I hadn't even thought of that. I'm so far removed from, the things I was doing wrong during those days um, that there's other things we can fall into. We can fall into depression. We can fall into addictive, obsessive behaviors, things like that. And I just think it's so important to wrap around those veterans and the first responders and the people that are going through that stuff. And that's why it was so important when we launched those flags, the honor, remember, the honor sacrifice flags, because we don't know what portal of opportunity is going to be presented to somebody that's either diagnosed with PTSD or depression or going through those things. But we want to offer multiple ways, or what I call pathways to healing. And when we were able to launch those flags and collect the names of the fallen on those flags went over at Hope Fest to the Honor Member booth. And several veterans came over, and they said, I wasn't able to think of my buddy all these years except for that moment of death. But I realize now he was so much more, why he was important to that particular soldier, who he was, his personality, why he light up the room, all that kind. He goes, "I'm starting to remember that stuff, and I don't know, but this I think is going to help me start healing." I'm not saying the honor member flag is the one and only way. I'm saying it offered an opportunity to that person at that moment, and we have to be able to offer those opportunities for multiple ways for people to know that they're safe, that they can talk, that they can share stories. When the flags traveled around the community, I would hear from police department chiefs or the fire department, or, where are they going? "I'm sorry, we didn't add a lot of names." No, that's actually a good thing. He goes, "But what the flags did do, it created conversations that we haven't been having. We were able to get people to go talk to counselors that they had been putting off." He goes, "So this has been a good thing in letting us talk. And if that's one way those flags help, that's great, But our job is not over, is otherwise they'd be magical flags, and they're not magical flags. Our work is still cut out for us."
Well, congratulations on you being sober all these years. That in itself is no easy feat, and to stay sober during these tragic, difficult times. So, again, you are a beacon of hope, and you are leading the way, trailblazing. So, I'm so glad to know you, Jaylene. I'm so glad that you're part of our Prescott community, and that you continue to serve so many veterans and the entire community. And I know you have such a deep love for the veterans. I see you at the veterans events, and so you have a long history of veterans in your family, not just your boys, but
Right.
right?
Right. It goes back. And even, I know some people think this is funny, but when there were records way, way back, and you're able to find your ancestors in them, it's because they were in some of those records. Not all records were kept throughout history, but the Romans, for example, definitely kept good records. We were able to trace some of our family back to biblical times of fighting.
Wow.
Yeah, as warriors. But especially the Revolutionary War. And of course, I got family on both sides. So, and being from Texas, you can imagine where a big part of my family's from. But yeah, well, my daddy was a Marine. He was a tank mechanic. And I learned a lot of things from him about character and doing things with excellence and all that kind of thing. He left me when I was 26 years old. He passed away. Well, Kyle was the only child born at that time, and he's been gone a great deal of my life. But he just imparted a whole lot on me when he was here. Yeah, my dad was a special guy.
What an awesome privilege that you have a family line of warriors, because that's a small percentage in itself in society. I remember listening to David Grossman, and he does all the statistics of the psychology of killing and all those things of what warriors go through. And I remember him saying that in any society, any culture, even back to the tribal days, there was only 1% to 2% of warriors out of the entire population. Mm-hmm. And that's a small percentage to them. So the rest of us who are not warriors sometimes have a really hard time understanding a warrior's, determination to protect and serve, and that they are always out there ready. They're just ready for anything. Right. And so how awesome that you had that in your family. Again, I don't think it was any accident that God gave you these 4 boys to raise, these warriors that you have,
Yeah. And, you're right. I've got uncles, cousins, both male and female, my brothers, both brothers. I have 3 brothers. 2 of them served. My former husband, just on and on. You're right. That's why there was a point in my life I said, are we a military family? I know that seems really crazy, but my daddy had gotten out of the Marines before I was born. So there came me and my other brothers. And then I saw my uncles and my cousins serve. But when my boys started signing up and I watched Kyle walk away, that was a hard time. And I said, oh, well, cool. We got somebody in the military, besides the fact I'm a Blue Star mom and do all the things that moms do for their military kids, it was kind of cool. But then when the second one went off, it's like, wait a minute. Okay, this is all right. We got 2. Then the third, I was having a hard time because then going, well, I'm not sure I signed up for this. I can't control them, what they do. But my goodness, I had 3 boys deployed at the same time. That's hard. That is hard.
that is very hard, because you talk about them not texting or calling you each day. You're definitely getting that. And they're out there doing who knows what.
Right.
And I would imagine you just can't let your mind go there.
Yeah, I think Kyle called home one time. He goes, yeah, we stopped this ship in the middle of between Iran and whatever, and it was a bunch of terrorists, and they started shooting at our ship. I said, what were they on? He goes, some little boat. I said, they're shooting at the ship with, he goes, yeah. And then when the bullets whizzed past me in the turret, and I go, wait a minute, the Navy's not as safe as everybody's saying. They're getting shot. Their ship is being shot by somebody in a little boat. He goes, yeah. And then we had to tell them they had so much time to get off their boat or we're sinking it. Wow. I guess they didn't get off, but the boat did get sunk.
Amazing.
Yeah, the stories that you hear afterwards is like, crazy. And some of Travis's unit have called me to make sure I knew exactly. There are about, 15, 20 guys walking around because of what he did. He was a saw gunner. So he had that big old gun and he would give protective cover. And he loved that thing. There was a point in his career, they were moving him to something else. He goes, they're taking away my saw. Okay, but where they move? They're making me take an advancement, and I got to start training these guys, so like a drill sergeant and all that kind of stuff. But they're taking away my saw. But Mom, I love being deployed. I get to camp for 9 months, and I get to play with any gun I want. He goes, I'm sleep deprived, and I'm don't exactly eat the best, but I get to camp for 9 months and play with guns.
Yes, they were warriors. That is for sure.
And
thank God for them. Honestly, thank God for that they were here. I know it was a short time here on Earth, but the time that they had, wow, they made a big difference. I mean, I didn't know them personally. I wish I would have had that opportunity, because I think they would have been just so amazing to have met. But I can tell that they made a huge impact and a difference in the world, and this world would not be the same had they not been in it. So,
that's a good point, because we work to keep the legacy alive, and thankfully for technology, with all the pictures, and I do have videos. Sometimes it's hard for me to watch the videos, but we have a saying that they can die twice. Once when we actually bury them, and the second time is if nobody talks about them anymore. Mm-hmm. So we want to do is, because they mattered. They did life. They lived here. They did life. I hear from people that were in school with them. There's one girl that Travis, I guess the girl would always get bullied, and he would make that stop when he was around. And I just found that out just a couple of years ago. He'd been out of high school for I don't know how long. But you keep those stories going, because number one, it's music to my ears. And number two, we remember them and keep them alive until we can be with them again. And I know we're probably wrapping up. Can I share one more story about especially Travis?
Absolutely.
We moved to Phoenix for a while. There was a time when there was some stuff going on personally, and I needed to get out of the area for a while. So we went down to Phoenix. Now this is moving out of Mayer and Cordes Junction area, where they're wide open spaces and they can run. They have vivid imaginations. That's how I developed my imagination. I lived in the country. So we moved to Phoenix for a while, and we moved from all these wide open spaces to an apartment complex. A couple hundred people living there. It was culture shock. And that Travis would take his toy. He was 8 years old. He would take his toy gun, and he would not allow me to go to the laundry room without him scouting the way. He would go ahead like a force. He would go ahead and clear the path and call me forward. I'll come, Mom, come this way. And he would do that every time we go to the laundry room, which is also foreshadowing of what he became. And I just know there'll be one day when he does it again, when he calls me forward, and when Jesus is standing there and says, this is the way, walk in it. All clear, Mom. Come this way.
Absolutely. Oh, so beautiful. I am so glad you shared that story. That's a beautiful memory to have of your son, clearing the way for you. And you're right. Both your boys, and that's where we rejoice, is that they are no longer suffering. They are having the time of their life, for sure. And as much as the world misses them, they are in an incredible place that we look forward to being at one day. So I'm so glad that you have that. I'm so glad you have the Lord in your life and the people around you to support you. That it's a beautiful thing, Jaye. And again, you are just a beacon of hope, just your presence. And so I want to also just maybe ask you, since Hope Fest is just, a little over a week away, not much.
7 days away.
What can anyone else do if they haven't joined already? I know it's probably too late to get a booth or anything like that, but is there anything that you need, that the community needs for Hope Fest right now?
Don't stop praying, because the people get together. Tempers can be short. I just ask that everybody, once they get to the courthouse plaza, to drop the rocks, grow a heart, and be the extension of love first, which is our challenge to the community. That's number one. Number two, we don't have any raffle items. Our team has been so busy, and I've had less help this year, that raffle items are one thing I have not been able to check off as well as we've done in past years. Other than that, our community is amazing at how they come together to make this free to the community event. In the old days, people thought that we just showed up on Hope Fest Day and just put it up, and it just happened. Well, I have to tell you, there's a lot of effort and organization. You also have to meet permitting. You have to be approved by the city and the county and all their departments. And so with that, I would just say, if you love what Hope Fest is doing, please consider a gift to keep it going so it can still be a free event. To offer something at this scale as truly a community coming together to make it happen. And we can do it without our sponsors and our donors. And to see them, show that flyer shows a bunch of them on our website. There shows a bunch of them. Look on our social media, and you will see them. Please patronize our sponsors: Lamb Chevrolet, Team Challenge, Yavapai Bottled Gas, MCK Woodworks, Harley Davidson came on. Both Whiskey Row and Legends came on. Blind Dog Graphics and Apparel. I could just go on and on and on. About amazing friends we've made along the way that wanted to see this happen, that got behind us with what they could do. That's where we're at. What can you do? That's the collaboration in me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you heard it here, Prescott community, and even those that don't live in Prescott, listen, you can still donate, okay? And if you want to drive up to Prescott, which I would highly advise if you're living in the hot zone, come on up for Hope Fest. But donate, contact Jaylene, info@hopefestaz.com. I've got it scrolling on the bottom here. And get a hold of them and let them know that you have something to donate. Raffle items. If you can't go out and get raffle items, give them a monetary donation. That goes a long ways too. And show up. Show your support by showing up to this event. It's going to be amazing. August 19th, Saturday, August 19th, starts at 10 o'clock, correct?
Starts at 10 o'clock. The Hosters Family Resource Fair and the car show starts at 10. The car show goes till 2. The resource fair goes till 4. Noon is the opening ceremony. 1 o'clock is when the music kicks off. And don't forget about the evening ceremony at 7. And you can also find out information on our website, hopefestaz.com.
Hopefestaz.com, you guys. So go get more information and step up, you guys, and serve. It's an amazing thing for the community of Prescott, and we absolutely need it because it really does bring hope. The beautiful thing about living in Prescott is that we have a community that I feel is so unique in that there's so many loving, giving, and generous people here with big hearts. Yes. And so I want to give a big shout out to the community of Prescott and the surrounding areas, Prescott Valley, Chino Valley. You guys are amazing people, but let's step up and let's meet the needs of Hope Fest, because we need to keep this going and we need to bring hope to others. And you heard Jaylene's story today. If you're listening to this on the replay, please be sure to share this out with all of your social media friends on all of your platforms, because American Dream Makers is on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. So look American Dream Makers up. You can share out this video and get the message out. And let's make this the best and the biggest attended Hope Fest ever, to where we're going to have to just park way, way, way down the street. Pork back. I don't know. But
thanks for doing that. Yeah.
So thank you again so much, Jaylene, for
Yes.
taking time out. I know you are just all over the place, the many hats that you wear. And God bless you, my sister, and really, really privileged and honored to know you.
And we're so glad that VA Rep is going to be there too. That's awesome. Thank you for having me. You're a dynamo too, and an inspiration in our community. We appreciate you as well.
Thank you, Jaylene. I appreciate that. We're excited to be there. So absolutely come visit VA Rep at the booth. There's so many booths. You guys, you just got to come down. It's just going to be amazing. Do not miss this. So, all right, Jaylene, I'll say goodbye for now, and we'll chat in a bit here. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here on American Dream Makers. I do believe that the American dream belongs to all of us. And not only can you achieve it, but you can go beyond. And Jaylene Cornell, our guest today, is definitely an American Dream Maker. So please be sure to reach out to her and get a hold of her, and like and share, subscribe to my YouTube page, to the Facebook group, and even to LinkedIn. Let's get this message out, you guys, and let's have a blessed day. And I will see you at Hope Fest for sure. All right, you guys, have a great one.